What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing out there today? Welcome back to Wildcat MTG. Earlier this year, I had Command Fest 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I had the opportunity to attend. And what you're seeing here is actually the playmat with my own logo that I brought, and I had the opportunity to meet some really fantastic people. And I will point out the names of the signatures that you see here, some people, some recognizable faces in the Magic community. And I really enjoyed these big events. A, it's just kind of nice to see people again. B, the opportunity to play paper Magic, to me, it's really second to none. It's one of the things I really enjoy is just being able to get together with people and really enjoy, not to sound too cliche here, but the actual gathering portion of Magic. And one of the other things that I really enjoy as somebody who both collects and invests in the game, in addition to playing it, is the opportunity to go to these events and actually take cards that maybe I'm less attached to and sell and trade my way up to cards that I think are more appealing for me long term from that both collector and mostly from the investor standpoint. So today's video is going to be a little bit about that and how I took cards with me at Command Fest and utilize those cards, leverage those cards to actually basically sell my way and trade my way into my very first graded Magic the Gathering card. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and dive on in here and we'll start talking a little bit about the math. So my big goal for the event was to see if I could possibly feasibly get my hands on a piece of Power 9 to add to my collection. And so what you're seeing here is a comprehensive list of all of the cards that I brought to the event with me in a sell/trade binder. And you're going to notice here that there's a few big hitters on there, right? Included in here is a Gaia's Cradle. I've also brought a few revised dual lands. And what you're actually seeing here is the list of every single card I brought with me, all 107, as well as their individual market price as of the time of the event. Now, I have to say that some of these cards I wouldn't have been crazy with parting with. And if there wasn't a piece of Power 9 really on the table, then I probably wasn't going to part with some of these. But I figured that it was better to have the cards on hand and maybe not need them than, find an opportunity to get a really good card and not have the firepower on me to do so. So I ended up bringing a whole bunch of cards, and you can see here that comprehensive list is 107 cards, totaling just under $6,500. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up conducting a couple of transactions, and the way those transactions break down is as follows. Okay, so in order for me to really start shopping around, I needed to first start generating some capital. So let's set some ground rules here. Generally speaking, if you sell online, whether it's TCG or eBay or any other sort of platform, after fees and after shipping, you're going to be giving up 13 to 16%, right? So you're going to end up getting somewhere between 85 and 87% of the price of those cards that you sell back. But the trade-off is that obviously listing online, you have to wait for a buyer to come by, the right buyer to purchase the card. It takes time, it takes effort. You have to worry about whether the card's going to get there, shipping, all that other fun stuff, right? Whereas the gratification, what you're getting in these events by doing transactions with the vendors at these events is you're going to give up a little bit more equity, but you also get the instant cash which then you can kind of turn around and turn back into another purchase. So generally speaking, my objective is in selling to a vendor is to get between 70 and 75% of the market value of that card back. I'm essentially willing to give up an extra 10% of equity in that card in order to get the cash, because cash gives me leverage at these events and it allows me to actually gives me additional bargaining power, right? So my first sale here, when I sat down with the first vendor to start generating some capital, out of that $6,500 worth of cards and 107, keep in mind, I ended up selling 71 of those cards for just about $1,550 in cash, in value. And what did I end up getting back in cash was $1,132, which works out to be about 72.99% of market value. Not a bad place to start. So, this kind of gives us a good starting point and allowed me to start going and looking around for cards that I was interested in buying. So the vendor that I did the first transaction with only dealt in non-foils, and while I was really happy with the proceeds and the return that I got on the cards that I sold, in order to raise additional capital, which is exactly what I was going to need to do in order to land one of the bigger cards that I had aimed to get, I was going to need to do a second sale, and I was going to need to find another vendor that was interested in some of the foils that I had brought with me to sell. But prior to doing so, I figured it was time to start narrowing down the cards that I was really truly interested in buying, and also would also of course have the financial means to do. So I ended up finding a Mox Pearl that was heavy play, listed at $25.95, a Mox Emerald that was heavy play to damaged for $23.95, a Mox Ruby that was moderate play for $26.95, a Chaos Orb that was $17.95 and was probably light play, and then a Time Vault that was light play for $14.99. And the more I thought about it, the harder it was for me, knowing that I was going to probably have to sell either the Gaia's Cradle or dip into the dual lands or some of those other things that I just wasn't so keen on selling. So I kind of narrowed it down to the Chaos Orb or the Time Vault. And so I went to go take another look at those cards. And as I went to go look at the Time Vault, I saw that that vendor actually had another Time Vault behind it that was listed for $17.99. And when I looked at the quality and the condition of that card, it appeared to be absolutely pristine, and I kind of instantly fell in love with the card, and I decided that was the card that I was going to aim to purchase. So actually with that same vendor, I ended up doing another transaction. I ended up selling about $1,100 out of there. Now, you will see that one of the cards that I sold was a revised Scrubland. That actually wasn't to that vendor. A buddy of mine is trying to collect all of at least one copy of all the dual lands, and he didn't have a Scrubland. He knew I was trying to generate some capital anyway, so it seemed mutually beneficial, even though I wasn't necessarily looking to sell dual lands. It seemed mutually beneficial to sell my friend one of those, and so I sold one of those, and then I ended up selling that vendor an additional $500 worth of cards. So in total, out of $1,100 worth of cards, I ended up generating another $788 of cash, equaling about 71.8% of market value, bringing my total sales $2,648.35 worth of cards, and I generated $1,920 in cash, which works out to be about 72.5% of market value. And now we have the means to actually make a purchase. So working with the same vendor that I had actually done the second transaction with, I ended up offering $1,700 cash on the unlimited Time Vault, and to my delight, they accepted. And so here we go. We have an unlimited Time Vault that you're seeing here, and I've included pictures of the front and back of it. And there we go. We're happily ever after, right? Wait, isn't this video supposed to be about a graded card? Yeah, I guess it is, huh? So the video doesn't end here, does it? So I mentioned that I generated $1,920 cash, and I paid $1,700 for the actual Time Vault. So with the extra $220, I figured, what the heck? I'm going to send it off and get it graded as well. Boy, it was a little bit of an ordeal to get it graded, but it actually ended up turning out very well. So as you can see here, my very first graded Magic the Gathering card is a 9.5 Gem Mint BGS Unlimited Time Vault. To kind of wind this thing up here, let's kind of recap here. So I ended up taking $6,500 worth of cards with me. I ended up parting ways with essentially $2,650 worth of those cards and bringing the other $3,800 or so home with me. Generated just over $1,900 cash. Paid cash of $1,700 for a Time Vault. Used the extra $200 to end up get that card graded. And that's where we're at. I don't think I could have imagined a better ending to this story. I feel like it made for a good use of cards. At the end of the day, when I sold those cards, I deemed them to be replaceable. Whereas something like this Time Vault, in this condition, I don't think it comes along very long. And it is now, the crown jewel of my collection for the time being. And so that's how I took cards with me that I ended up trading up into my very first graded Magic the Gathering card. That's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I hope you guys enjoyed the tale. I hope you guys found it somewhat informative and gives you guys some ideas of what to do or what not to do. I don't know. But that's it for me today. And if you guys enjoyed it, do me a favor. If you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button for me, hit the like button for me, and by all means, drop me some comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for your time, and be well, everybody.